everyone, and welcome to the Pikeville City Managers Report. I'm your host, Jill Fraley-Dodson, as always, along with Pikeville City Manager Donovan Blackburn. This is a big week we are getting ready to embark upon, Donovan, one of our most favorite times. It is Hillbilly Days again. We're going to talk all about what the festival is going to have this year, some new attractions, some new adventures on many different levels. Lots to get to today, lots of updates to bring you. So we're going to go along with Marion's Branch. We're going to talk a little bit about Alltech, and then we're going to delve into Hillbilly Days and a little thing called Zip, Paddle, and Saddle. So there's a lot to get to.
Oh, I'm excited, Jill. It's spring has sprung. I think a lot of folks kind of compare spring, I guess, relate it to Hillbilly Days as it comes around, because we look in the hills, the foliage is starting to come out. The greenery, the tulips in the city park are bloomed. Gorgeous. Which usually bloom 2 weeks before Hillbilly Days each year. So it's an exciting time of the year. It's a busy time of the year, but extremely exciting.
We have, let's start with Marion's Branch first. A lot of activity there, and a road outage that we also want to talk about. So bring us up to speed on what's happening at Marion's Branch.
Marion's Branch, again, is a project we're really excited about, and things are moving along. BZAC Construction is the construction firm that was awarded the contract. They did phase 1 of the project, which put the road at the top of Marion's Branch, so you can't see it again. I was up there actually yesterday for the first time in a couple of months. What they've been doing over the past couple of months is doing a lot of blasting, removing the rock and the shell to widen the road, because they understand that industrial traffic will be traveling to the top of the hill. So to be able to get a semi-truck up, the road had to be widened and actually realigned in some areas. The curves had to be widened. So, and I know the public hasn't seen the property because it's been mined for the last 15 years. So it really, from when I saw it 2 months ago compared to today, is just an absolutely amazing. It's just a difference. It amazes me, the construction industry anyway, but because when you look at the big trucks and all the big equipment that's been up there moving dirt around, just to see how much tonnage that they've moved in such a short period has been, it just amazes me as a big kid, I guess, looking at big boy toys, as my wife says. But so things are moving along. The intent is to have phase 2 of the road completed by June. So again, the site will be accessible to whatever business by June. Now there's some additional infrastructure that has to go up there, and there's 2 pieces of this. One is the road, the other is the bridge. So right now what has happened is phase 1 is completed, which is the road at the top. Phase 2 will be the road from the top to the bottom, and that will connect into the existing Marion's Branch Road. So if you're crossing the Island Creek Bridge and you take the first immediate left to where there's a little small bridge you go across, people may be familiar with that area, then you actually travel on Marion's Branch Road. Well, most of it's blacktop and have been used for years as a coal haul road. Part of that wasn't black leading to the new Marion's Branch, so we're going to blacktop it all, so that if you're coming off of 23, you can go across Island Creek, cross railroad tracks, take a left, and make it all the way to Marion's Branch on a nice blacktop road. So that's the road component of it. The other piece of it is the bridge. The geotech was just completed. The design phase is underway right now. The project should be let, I would say, sometime around July or August, and the construction will start on the actual bridge part of it probably, I would say, around September of this year. So it's, again, the bridge is about 18 months out of completion for it to be utilized. So what we wanted to do was to be able to still utilize the industrial park if there's building going on, with the bridge still being under construction. So that's where we're at with the bridge. The property acquisition, there was several pieces of property that we had to acquire. If you're traveling down on South Mail Trail, if you're familiar with where Fastenal is, there's also the car lot that sits there on the right before Fastenal. We acquired the car lot. We already own the property behind it, which used to own or belong to Joanne Johnson. And then the old Colmac property, we acquired that. So those 3 tracts of property on the US 23 side of the property line, the city now owns. The property across the river, there was several property owners for us to be able to attach the bridge and get the right-of-way needed for the road. All that's been secure. So everything's been done from the standpoint of property acquisition, which makes up usually one of the more difficult parts of actually putting a project together. So on top of that, a problem that occurred with all these rings is if Kiowani Road, which is where this will connect into. So if you're familiar with where Kiowani connects to Marion's Branch, through the rains, the There's a short section of the road that's actually in the city limits. The rest of it's in the county. But the short section, due to the rain, the underneath of the road gave away, and actually the road broke in half and slid off the hill. So that road is not accessible right now. There is ramps up, blockades up at both sides. So you'll have to go, for those that use Kiowani, you'll have to go through the Forge branch, which most of the people do. There's only a couple of residents that it really impacts. So with that said, we hope to be able to get the road up well, I say that we hope to get the road up as part of this project, but it's going to be a few months before that's able to be repaired. What we're going to try to do is to take the bridge alignment and to use that segment of the contract to go ahead and reconfigure that area over and kind of move that road over from where the railroad tracks are. So if you are in that area and you're impacted by this road outage, please know that it's an unfortunate situation. Luckily, there's another way out. It's a little bit longer than what the way that some of those homes were able to use. But trying to find the funding, we're going to try to use some of the funding that's in the existing project for Marion's Branch. Because when we start the construction of the bridge, we have to close that section of the road down anyway. Because there's going to be a lot of blasting, a lot of geotech, and a lot of building in such a very narrow area. So unfortunately, it's going to cause an inconvenience for a couple of months before we intended it to be an inconvenience. But once it's all said and done, it'll actually be much improved. And those folks there won't have to travel through the long Marion's Branch Road. They'll be able to come across the bridge to get onto 23. So though it's an inconvenience now, it'll be a blessing when it's all said and over with. So that's kind of where we're at with Marion's Branch. The project moves on. I will mention also, I'm very proud to announce, and I don't have the numbers in front of me, the next phase of the industrial development will actually be construct a new water tank up there. There is a small water tank up there, but one with more capacity, more volume is certainly needed, so we're intending to construct a 1 million gallon water tank. It's about a $5 million project. We were, right before I ran down here, we've had a couple of grants and a government loan that we were applying for to pay for that project. And as I was heading down here, I got the email that it was formally and officially approved. So that is great news, and we appreciate certainly Congressman Rogers and Senator McConnell and Senator Paul's office. We'd been contacting them about these projects where they endorsed, and it was actually Senator McConnell's office that contacted us today to tell us that the grants were awarded. So we're extremely excited and delighted. There's still a little bit of funding shortfall that we have, but we're working with the governor right now to make up that as well. So I'm hoping, if all goes well, within the next 30 days, we will have all the funding for all the projects and for Marion's Branch for the industrial park to be completed. And there's actually, Jill, I met with, we've got obviously Alltech's announcement. I am meeting Tuesday with another business that we hope to soon announce that will be a great addition to the park. And then yesterday I met with a third business that is very interested in the park. And that's before the park's been developed. That's what's so nice about it.
That's really good news. When you have that much interest that's
really
already been established before it even opens up, that could just be a preview of things to come.
I believe it is, and I believe that once the park is developed, because that's the problem. Those companies that have had an interest outside the ones that I'm actually talking to, the question is when is the bridge going to be available? And we don't want to go up and invest, commit and put $1 million in design when we don't know for certain when the water is going to be started or when the road is going to be completed. And so now that we're under construction phase, once we start the bridge, it will give some people a sigh of relief that the bridge is actually reality, even though it is. And then the other piece of it is just to get the water tank up there because the sewer is already up there. So it's going to be a premier site. I'm really excited about the potential and the opportunity. A lot of interest already, and we're not even to the point where we were ready to market it yet. So really excited. A lot of great, wonderful things happening, and I'm looking forward to hopefully some future announcements.
Yeah, you mentioned Alltech, and we do want to get a quick update on Alltech and what they're doing in our community. We see a lot of different things happening, a lot of different talk around the community, and a lot of excitement tue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got some V-row on the Alltech downtown site, the Distillery Brewery. We're real excited about, it's up on the screen now, what's going on with the new site. If you look right now, the demolition phase will actually be completed this week. They're down into the dirt. They're stripping you look at the brick on the side of the adjacent building, they're stripping it off. The theater building, as you're looking at now through the chain link, you'll notice that we put up a nice wall to protect the elements from going into the theater, because at the other side of that building is the old Doll Hairs building. That is the theater lobby. So we're excited about that. We're actually, today, we're taping on Friday, is the bids are actually due in, that the city will actually be putting a firewall up there right where you see, so it gives Jenny White another 4 foot of storage space that will run parallel with that wall, and where you see the green space there on top, the metal, that will be a new wall that will come all the way down. And what that does, it's a fire rated wall. Because of a new distillery brewery, it's recommended from the standpoint of insurance reasons. And if you look at the other wall, a moment ago there's a brick wall with the adjacent building on the other side. That wall's being left up again as a fire separator wall, because as a distillery brewery, there's a lot of different components that, as they design the building, that's necessary for them to meet and to be able to get the actual insurance, even though that it's a safe building, because they put a lot of precautions on the inside of the building. And that's what you're looking at now, is the firewall that they're leaving up on the opposite side. So, the project is, the demolition phase is almost completed. I've talked to Mrs. Lyons week before last, and actually Dr. Lyons this week. The design phase is to the point to where internally, this is not a city project, so it's not typically like you would normally do bid it out. We don't have any really interest, direct interest or involvement, I should say, more of an interest with getting the bids out. That's done internally. So they'll do some internal, they've got some businesses they're used to dealing with. We've sent them some names of some people that they've asked for locally, like block companies and different components that they'll deal with. So you'll soon start seeing, once we get our firewall up, probably sometime in the next 6 weeks, I would say, Alltech will be on site to start putting and laying the foundation of the actual construction of the facility. And I'm not sure, don't think we have V-roll of it, but there is the rendition of what this facility looks like is absolutely remarkable. But more important, and I know some of the things we're getting ready to talk to past Hibbley days, is a lot of the tourism attractions, Jill. And one of the things that, one of the reasons why that the city not only entered into wanting to do tourism initiatives was, and in this morning's copy of the News Express I read in regards to the fiscal court, that they're pursuing their four-wheel trail system, and we have talked directly to Magistrate Dotson, Hillman Dotson, about working jointly on what we can do to help different segments of the county from a tourism standpoint create these trails. Because when you look at what Alltech's doing, it's extremely important, that we invest in ecotourism and doing some things to try to pull people in to kind of help their facility out, and vice versa. So when you look at what they've done in Lexington, year before last, we've mentioned, again, close to 40,000 visitors. Last year, it was double that. And they're doing no advertising. Everything's done being part of the Bourbon Trail. So having part of the Bourbon Trail in eastern Kentucky, more specifically in Pikeville, will bring people through the attraction to Pikeville. So when they're here, we want to make sure we're giving them other activities to do. And that's just not downtown Pikeville. We want them to be able to go into other segments of the county, and hopefully to be able to have a four-wheel experience, to go up and see the beautiful breaks, to go over and see Jenny Wiley and the park, and experience Dewey Lake and the outdoor amphitheater, and then stay here in Pikeville also with quality accommodations and have restaurants and all the things that it takes to make and build in a real tourism economy or tourist area. So we're extremely excited about what Alltech is doing, and glad we're partnered with them on so many projects. Trust me, it's not the last thing you're going to hear with Dr. Lyons and Alltech. There's a lot of other things that we're working on outside of the distillery or brewery, some that's been announced, some that hasn't. I'm interested, I'll say this too, that in May, Dr. Lyons and Alltech, they have a conference in Lexington, and I'm trying, and the intent is to release, actually during the conference last year is when they released officially the distillery brewery announcement, but this one is going to be a little bit unique and different, and we're involved, so really excited to see if they're going to announce some of these new initiatives during that conference, or if they're going to wait till a couple of weeks thereafter as some of the other things that we're working on. So people, I mean, really exciting time, and to see how ways that we can look at diversifying our economy, creating the different attractions, invest in tourism, but it's all really truly about job creation. And we certainly couldn't have any other better partner than Alltech, Dr. Lyons, and as a catalyst, because as we're sitting here talking, we're talking about Alltech's initial investment, but we're talking about 3 other companies that are now coming to Pikeville that have some ties to Alltech. That are looking at ways that they can invest in Eastern Kentucky as well. So
it's an exciting time. Every time that we get together, seems as though we always update on Alltech, but there seems as like there's always one more project that they've now thought of or wanting to become involved in, or he's been here and he says, I may want to do this. And then he brings it up to you and you all discuss it. And I just think it speaks volumes about the respect and the love that he now has for our area, Dr. Lyons, and how we here really fit into their mold and what they like to be part of.
I mean, absolutely, and that goes back to why we took the trip over to Ireland and forged the twinning relationship, because again, it's Pierce's, Dr. Lyons' hometown. It's where he was born and raised, and the similarities in Ireland we talked about time and time again. It's the same thing that Eastern Kentucky's going through. So, having a lot of these projects, some things that they've tried in Ireland that Ireland is a big agricultural community. I mean, a nation for that matter. Their biggest agricultural crop is grass. So, and it's because of the livestock and all the other things that they raise. So when you look at some things and some possibilities that we've never thought about in Eastern Kentucky that can help diversify our economy, Alltech has the research and development programs that they can look at different components to see if this will work or if that will work, and that's what they're actually doing. So, and it's throughout the entire region too. It's not just Pikeville. So, I'm extremely excited about where Dr. Lyons sees their investment. And then what's happening is because of their research and their commitment to the area, other companies are becoming interested. But you can have all the interest in the world if you don't have the site for them to locate, if you don't have the infrastructure built in, if you don't have the educational system to be able to train the workforce, if you don't have the workforce, then it's all for naught. And we're blessed enough to where we have all that right now. With the university and Big Sandy, the technical college, and 400 acres of developable property, with all the Pikeville Medical Center to be able to offer the medical services that are needed, with shopping and all the quality of life issues that it takes to attract industry into a market. All those things have been worked on for the last 10 years, and what we're seeing is a fruit of our labor now, with different businesses looking at Pikeville for the first time. And it's not just retail business. I mean, we're great and blessed to have companies like Hobby Lobby and Marshall's now in our community, and we'll talk in a moment about some restaurants that we're interested in, and they're interested in the market, and more people are looking at Pikeville as a sustainable place to be, and what we're seeing as benefits because it's helping job creation, it's helping improve our overall economy. So it really is exciting.
Certainly is. Something else that's very exciting, and we're going to talk now about one of our favorite things. We look forward to it every single year. Hard to believe we're already to the week of Hillbilly Days.
Yeah, you really looked up last week and said, it's next week?
It's next week. Yeah, the 16th, 17th, and 18th, of course. A lot of things, little things here and there get underway at the beginning of the week. The carnival comes into town, opens up on Wednesday night, I believe. But you're going to see a lot of activity, a lot of new faces around our community as people start to make their way for our annual event. And for those maybe that are new to our community, have never heard of Hillbilly Days, it started years ago because there was a need to support children.
Yes.
For the Shriners Children's Hospital and those that maybe couldn't pay the expenses, couldn't get to the hospital. And really, it's all about the kids. It is a festival for children put on by what some would say a bunch of children, our hillbilly clans that get involved. But it really is. It's a great cause that we so get behind, and it has grown and grown and grown over the last few years.
Well, it's the leading this 39th year, going into the 40th year next year, and looking back as a kid attending the first Hillbilly Days, and I've told this story before, but I got to march in the first parade, didn't know what Hillbilly Days was. They contacted, I was going to Greasy Creek Elementary at the time, and they contacted the school and wanted some kids to participate, so Mom made me a little costume and I got to march in the parade. But seeing what it was then into what it's grown into today, Jill, is it's absolutely wonderful because it has such a tremendous economic impact into the community, bringing so many people in that obviously they're visiting the booths and all the attractions, but they're also eating at our local restaurants and shopping in our stores because they're already out anyway. And the hotels are busy, bringing in concerts and all those different components of it. And and then the other part of it is it's being able to experience different foods and different cultures and different and different attractions that you don't get to see the other parts of the day. There you go. It's nothing like getting on a mechanical bull, which I understand that somebody may be trying hopefully this year.
I may try that this year.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah, the challenge has been issued, I can tell you that.
We need to know time and date, and we need to make sure that we're
I'll
there
make
to
sure
reach
I
out.
don't forget.
But it is, as you say, it's all about the children.
Mm-hmm.
The intent of the original intent, of course, Howard Stratton and Dirty Ear got together and came up with the thought, and it grew into having very basic, simple attractions in the park. I can remember in high school working through FBLA, the club I was in, and we set up an attraction to raise money where you taped dollars to a piece of plywood and you threw dimes, and if you landed on it, then you won a prize. Going from that to what it is today is truly remarkable, and it's exciting. And again, at the end of the day, it benefits both the Shriners Hospital, which we have a lot of kids in this area that are, and I've got some in my family that have been the benefactors of what the Shriners Hospital Lexington offers at no cost to the family. And then you've got a lot of volunteers in the area that they have to raise money to keep the band going, to help take the children back and forth, to take the financial burden off of the parents or the families. So raising this kind of money does make a difference. And then of course the local chamber plays a tremendous role in it. Our job from the city is more logistics. We take care of all the closing streets and the traffic cones and the trash and the water and all that stuff. And then the chamber actually takes care of the vendors, of setting up the vendors. There is a board, a logistics board that comes together that meets the city, the county, the chamber, and the Hillbilly Clan is a member of that board. But it's much more than that, for the chamber as well, because they're able to operate off some of the funds that they raise, taking care of this festival. And I've said this for the last almost 12 years that I've been here, is that the amount of work that the chamber does throughout the entire year to prepare themselves for this 3-day festival is absolutely amazing. And to watch it come together on Wednesday, because what will happen is next Wednesday, 5 o'clock, we'll start actually that morning about 9 o'clock. The parking garage is closed down. The vendors come in to set up the parking garage on Wednesday morning, and then at 5 o'clock, everything's off the streets. They sound the siren, and they come in from 4 different directions, and it just really goes very, very, very smoothly. But from everything from the music in the streets, and Larry Webster, what he's done for years in the city park, offering a great quality of bluegrass music, and I get the benefit of being right next door to where I go out on the porch.
You don't have to go far, do you?
No, which I'm very seldom home during that week.
That's true.
But it is enjoyable. And you look at all the different attractions, different booths, and what the Expo Center is doing with the concert or the entertainment rather, and it's just a really good, wholesome, clean event, and it's very family oriented. And in the early years, it developed a reputation of having a lot of problems, and over the past, especially the past 15 years, it's really became more and more wholesome and more clean. The carnival that they brought in is a different carnival than what it was in years past. Great carnival, very clean. They do a great job. And it's the downside of the festival, but I'll make mention of it. But because when you look back, even 12 years ago, we had somewhere in the neighborhood of 200 and 300 arrests. Mm-hmm. In years past, the last probably 2 or 3 years, we've had less than 20 or 30, and a lot of those do not pertain to the festival itself. Right. So it's a lot of it's normal weekend traffic, as you would say. So for what this does for the kids, for what it does to help the Shriners, the chamber, the economic impact on the community, and then it's just about getting out and having a good old time. So we're excited about it.
It is. A lot of people use Hillbilly Days for their vacation time.
Yep.
You know, they plan their vacations around it. And a lot of people use it for family reunions as a homecoming of sorts, because you throw people that are getting together in with a bunch of great food, and then the entertainment really is excellent. We have the Jamie Johnson concert, of course, at the Expo Center, but every day of Hillbilly Days, every hour that the festival is up and running, there is music to be found, whether it be at the courthouse, whether it be in the park, or various other locations. Bake 253 Soundstage, I mean, that's another attraction that we have. So there's music everywhere, just about on every corner that you can find.
There, it is. You know, the church, the Methodist Church parking lot, they do music. There's music on the boulevard. So there's music everywhere. There's activities such as bull riding and you know, going on everywhere. Traditionally, and I think it will happen again this year. You know, with the loss of the UK Wildcats that we're all still mourning.
We're not even going to talk about that.
No, we'll start tearing up again. But
we will.
you know, there should be a couple. I've talked to Jeff Shepard this week, and we've got a location that we're hoping to announce. That there should be not sure which of the Wildcats will be in, but for the past couple of Hillbilly Days, we've opened up, bring us the Wildcats in. That they charge for autographs, but you get to meet the Wildcats.
Right.
And so it's a great activity, and so it's just little things like that really make the festival special.
Something else that we're doing this year, you mentioned bringing people in. I know that Neil James loves coming to our area. Banjo Neil, if you're a fan of Call of the Wild Man, you know he's Ernie's sidekick, but he's actually going to come in, be with us. He's going to be with us at EKB for a couple of days, and we're doing some live TV shows downtown and radio shows. Of course, we're taking Daybreak, you know, to the streets. I've invited you to come by, but he's going to be there with us too. And that's just one of the things. He had never been here before until a couple of years ago and came in. He loves the people. He's one of the biggest hillbillies there is, but it's for a great cause. And kids, he has such a heart for children. But so he'll be around and about playing his banjo, taking pictures and getting to know him. So just one of the great attractions. You mentioned the UK players. You mentioned, you know, we talked about Banjo Neil. So many other people seem to float in and out, and you never know who you're going to see. Halfway to Hazard is going to be here on Saturday too. Resurgence of their duo that they have. So a lot of fun, exciting times, and of course the great food, and they have their opening ceremony on Thursday evening.
Yes.
And we want to make sure we invite everybody to that, because it's a great time, and they reveal their ambassadors for the year.
Well, it's a good time to pay tribute to some of those guys that really vest their life for the entire year into this festival, from the Shriner side of the business as well, or the Hillbilly Clan. So it's just overall, Jill, it's just a great event that we're glad to be associated with. And it's amazing to me how many people, throughout not just the state, but throughout the nation that have heard of Hillbilly Days. I had the opportunity yesterday of meeting with two different groups, and both of them said, we've never been to Hillbilly Days, but we're coming this year because we've heard just such as a great, wholesome festival. So just more and more people are, word's getting out. More and more people show up. We're hoping and praying that the rain holds off and that we have another great 3 days. Typically, we always have 2 great days, 1 day of rain, and the forecast has gone back and forth a little bit. But rain or shine, it doesn't matter. The vendors are there. We're there. We're still going to have a good time. So hope everybody brings their family, comes out, and it's you mentioned a moment ago. Even for our family, it's a great time because we live right beside the city park. It's amazing how many members of our family that we actually get to see during that festival. They just hop over the fence and come over and talk to us.
It's because you have a great location. Yeah, and you have a free bathroom for them to use. One thing that I do want to update everybody on, because we do have some road issues this year that we may have not had before, and we do want to bring everybody up to date on that, because there's construction of our new school going on at U-Pike, and so there's going to be a little bit of a situation there that people are going to have to be mindful of. But also the bypass is we know that we have had a boulder that has fallen, and that section of roadway has been closed down. You're not going to be able to use that entrance. No,
it's it's going to try us this year. I'm not going to say that it's not. It's going to be a little difficult for a couple of different reasons. But I spoke to Mary Holbrook at the Transportation Cabinet. We met last week and had some discussions, but unfortunately, because it's the boulder that fell, there's another large boulder probably twice the size of that one that has the potential of falling, and due to the risk of life, they have no choice but to close it down. So their geotech folks are working on it. They're hoping to have they're looking at some solutions that probably won't come into play until for another week or so. So really not sure when the problem is going to be able to be addressed, because what happened is over this winter we had so many freeze and thaws, and you can imagine as the water gets in behind the rock and it freezes, it pushes the rock out and then it thaws. So it's like a wiggling action that rock ends up loosening. So you had the major boulder that fell, and then last week we had a bunch of smaller boulders that fell that ended up going through a window of a business down there. So there is some risk down there, and we certainly don't want anybody in jeopardy. And I realize it is a state's project. It's not a city project. That's a state road. The legislators, both Leslie Combs and Ray Jones, have been in contact with not only Mary but also the cabinet, transportation secretary. So they're diligently working on trying to find a solution, and there is some funding available. We're looking at some other funding needs possibly to address this once and for all. So I don't think it's going to be a quick fix. I'm not certain what the transportation cabinet's going to end up doing, but unfortunately it's put this burden upon us with Hillbilly Days. And so what we're going to do, we're going to have an officer down at Combs Bridge as part of the festival. As you're coming out of Cloy, you're only going to be able to turn left anyway, so it's not necessary that we have somebody necessarily there at Hambly as you turn off of the bypass on the Hambly. So that's going to be closed off as well. So as you're coming off of Cloy, you're going to have to go all the way down, which is normally you would do anyway. You're just not going to be able to turn right. So those folks coming over Town Mountain are going to either have to take the bypass road or come across the Combs Bridge. If you're coming across Combs Bridge, that's what we're still undecided upon. We're probably going to force traffic up 2nd Street and then on to Pike Street to go back to the boulevard, and only allow local traffic on down Scott. Because of the numerous amount of stop signs down there, what we don't want to do is to have traffic backing up to where it's closing down the Combs Bridge. Right. So the intent is to hopefully keep traffic free flowing from Combs Bridge onto 2nd Street and then onto Pike Street and then on to the boulevard. So anyway, just people are going to have to be patient, be mindful, and watch the traffic. But people tend to find their way through it, and it's going to be here regardless, like it, love it or not. And at the end of the day, when you get in, you're parked, it's about having a good time.
Yeah. Everything kicks off with the carnival opening up on Wednesday night. Of course, the vendors, food booths, and everything else on Thursday morning. So go ahead and make your plans. Get all of your hillbilly gear ready. Jimmy Kinney has put out a request that everybody really update their hillbilly garb this year. So I had told him I would be very diligent about finding exactly what he's talking about. We're talking about bibbed overalls, hats, and all of those comfy hillbilly clothes that we all love so much.
Yeah, Jimmy's Jimmy.
Big news next week, along with Hillbilly Days, the 16th brings another grand opening for something that we've talked about for a long time, zip, paddle, and saddle. Paddle is going to come a little bit later on, but the zip part, that's going to be on Thursday. And you've got Ryan Coleman is the manager of the new White Lightning zip line, and everything gets started on Thursday.
Yeah, and I know the community is extremely excited about this project. We're excited about it, Jill, because it's something we've been working on now a little for over a year. We've been discussing it for the past 3 years, but because of Alltech's commitment, we wanted to bring some additional attractions into our community as part of the ecotourism. So the zip line is, it's great. And I'm not going to do it justice. And what we want everybody, we're going to be doing a major push this week in the media, pushing the attraction. It's going to open on Thursday of Hillbilly Days. We are, and since it's opening, I'm trying to think of get the dates. Okay, Thursdays we're going to run 4 different, every Thursday. It's not just Hillbilly Days, but it's every Thursday. We're going to run a 2 o'clock, a 2:30, a 4:30, and a 5 tour. The tours are 2 hours long, so the 5 o'clock will end at 7. We've got to end at 7 because it starts getting dusk up in the hills especially. So you can log on to www.visitpikeville.com, and if you'll go there, you'll see the zip line, or you can do the zip, paddle, and saddle. We'll talk about that in just a second. So you can click on the zip line, and it'll bring up the time frames. You put how many you want, and it'll go through the pricing, and so you pre-book, okay? Now, I'm going to be all over the board on this one because it really is fun. This is a business that we did not initially anticipate on running or operating ourselves, the city. We had another business that we thought was going to operate it, and that fell through. But Robert Nichols, who is the designer of the zip line, he is world renowned. We talked about this. Unfortunately, he had some tragedy in his family, and he wasn't able to operate it because originally that's what the intent was. But somebody threw up to me yesterday, it was a good point, that now that the city is operating it, is it of quality and standard as if Robert would have operated it? And I hadn't thought about it, and it's really a good question. And the answer is absolutely, because nothing's being done any differently than if Robert would have operated it. And what I mean by that is that Robert still constructed it. He still certified it. Robert has been in the last 3 days. We have hired not only Ryan, our manager, but we've hired 6 additional employees. All 6 of those employees have gone through training for the last 3 days. It's a 3-day training course that they have to be certified, and they actually get a certification paper from Robert because he is the head of the association that he is with that actually certifies the riders. So in order for us to qualify for our insurance, there's a lot of different things that we had to do to be in full compliance. And there are actually some things that we're having to change this week to be in compliance. So there is some guidelines set forth by the industry. For example, the riders, you have to be a minimum of 70 pounds, maximum of 250. Our age guidelines is from 8 years old on up. As long as you're within the weight factor, that's fine. If you'll get on our website, it will list all the different rules and regulations to participate in the attraction itself. But so the fire department and the police department, we've actually brought 2 firemen up and 2 policemen up. They went through the training also because in case of rescue, if somebody ends up getting stuck on a line, then if it's something minor, then the zip line folks, our employees have been trained. But if it's something more major, then the police and fire will be involved in the training and components. There is a train-to-trainer program so that if we lose an employee or we need more employees because of the demand, both the fire and the police have gone through a specialized training program to where they will train our newer employees as they come forth also. So we've got professionals that's used to this type of attractions doing the training. We're opening on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We're closed on Tuesday, Wednesday. The reason Wednesday, again, just for assurance, is Wednesday is inspection day. Wednesday, we will go through the full course completely, check all the guides, the wires, the harnesses. Every Wednesday, all that is documented to make sure that the course is safe. I will add, again, the weight limit is 250 pounds. Now, the reason it's 250, it has nothing to do with the cables holding 250. The cables will actually hold about 4,000 pounds each. The 250 is because the elevation when you're sliding from one platform to the other, if you get above that weight, the velocity of how quickly you slide, it's difficult to stop. So that's why the 250 is in range more than the weight, because people have said, well, will the cable hold? Is that why? The cable will hold 4,000 pounds, is what we're told. So it's not.
We should not have an issue.
No, there's no issues.
Ever with a cable.
It's no issues. So we're learning a lot about the property now. Where is this located? Is up at Bob Amos Park. Mm-hmm. If you're familiar with where the old softball field used to be, at the very top level where the track is, the softball field's gone. There's a new gigantic parking lot up there. It's a gravel parking lot. We can accommodate a lot of traffic up there now. So the parking is now available. The signage for the parking lot actually went up yesterday. The Parks building that is located on the back side corner, if you're familiar with where the multi-use trail is, there is a brick park building back there. That is actually the headquarters for the Zip Paddle and Saddle. We've done a lot of work in there. It really looks nice. It's got a rustic feel. When you go in, there's dressing rooms and a counter that was made out of old rough salt lumber, and really, they've done a great job. Painted the floors. So there's going to be eventually. We've got there's T-shirts, and you'll be able to buy kayaks and a lot of other things you'll be able to buy in the building as well. So the training will be completed. Well, actually, it was completed today at noon. There also all the employees have been first aid and CPR certified, along with their other training. That's why it was 3 days. It was 2 days for the zip line and a day for the first aid training. So all of that has now been completed and we're ready to go. So this weekend we're going to do a rough run with some city employees. We're going to let the guides go up and take some of the employees through. And then on Thursday morning, we'll get up and get things ready for the first attraction, or for the first to launch at 2 p.m. Mm-hmm. Now that's on Thursdays. On Mondays we're going to run going through the schedule on Mondays, and you can find all this on our website. 2 tours, one at 2 and one at 4:30. On Thursdays, again, it's 2 p.m., 2:30, 4:30, and 5. And then on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's when our big business days will be. We're going to run an 8:30, a 9, an 11, 11:30, a 2, a 2:30, a 4:30, and a 5. So there's several spaces and we can do, for each tour, we'll hold 10 people. There'll be 2 guides that will go out, one in front, one in back. So it'll be a total 12 people that will go out. We've got a bus that you'll catch from the parking lot, from the building. You'll get on the bus. They'll take you up to the first launch. You'll launch from there, and then when you finish the tour, you're actually finishing the last line is actually back at the Parks building.
Right.
So those are all the fun things that are happening. And then the other thing I'll add is the zip lines will run rain or shine. The only time we can't operate is in thunder showers or in a very hard rain. But if it's just a sprinkle or a rain or a regular rain, we still will run. So we're going to if it's raining, bring your
rain gear.
Your rain gear, have it on, but it doesn't stop it. Trying to think, there's a few other things that I'm sure I'm leaving out, and we'll go into zip, paddle, and saddle. But with all this said, the most exciting piece that I'm really excited to really talk about is once again, I thank the commission for their guidance and their leadership. One of the reasons why that we wanted this partnership originally was to have the experience. So we got the best of both worlds. We were able to keep the experience with Mr. Nichols still overseeing, because we've got a 5-year contract with him. He'll come back once a year, inspect the system, repair anything that needs to be repaired, and train anybody else that needs to be trained. But the real exciting piece of this is now that the city's operating it, it's not necessarily about making a profit as much as it is just paying for the system and to bring people into our community so that they stay in our hotels and they visit our restaurants and visit the stores. So the price point is what I'm most excited about. Because what the commission said to me is now that we're operating it, then let's create a price point that makes it affordable. That we're in an economy right now, Jill, that we want not just those people to travel here to have a good experience at a good price point, but we want our local people to have a good price point as well. And I'm going to do the drum roll kind of deal at the end of the day, because when you look at what I want to do is compare this to is there is a website that's actually on our Facebook page you can go to that lists every zip line canopy tour in the United States. It's on there. You can go to the state and then it will list the websites and you can pop up. But there are several in the state of Kentucky. There's a Natural Bridge, and I'm going to go through these really quickly one by one. Natural Bridge, if you've been there, they have 5 zip lines. We have 8. They have 5 zip lines. Their price point is $89 per trip. Cave City has 3 zip lines, and theirs is $45 for 3. Again, we have 8. Mammoth Cave has 5 at $55. Black Mountain has 11 for $79. So they're the only ones that has actually more than us, I believe. Yes. Red River has 7 zip lines for $45. Kentucky Shore has 8 for $55. Bone Creek, I'm not sure how many they have, but theirs is $100. Mega Cavern has 6 for either $69 or $79, depending upon what day that you're riding. Maysville's Big Dipper has 5 for $40. And then Petersburg has 2 different ones, one that has a 5 and one that has an 8. Their price point is $39 and $59. Originally, tax and all, our zip line was going to be $45 because we have 8. And at $45, we were still below everybody in a comparable level. So anybody that had 8 or greater, we were still well below what the market price was. So what we decided to do was to come in, and the commission said, well, how about kids? So we lowered our price point for children also to $31, and that's tax and all. The $45 and the $31 was total price. So for children from, again, the years of 8 years to 14 is what is in that range, is $31. But the commission came back and said, well, for Hillbilly Days and for the 30 days thereafter, and then when we get to the end of that 30 days, we'll look at it from there. But you can log on to our website today at visit.pikeville.com, and you can ride the zip line as an adult for $29 and for a kid for $25.
Wow.
I don't think you're going to find anywhere in the nation that has 8 zip lines that has this low of a price point for people to be able to ride. And it was all because, again, the commission wanted to make it affordable for our locals, but yet make it attractive to people that are outside the area to want to come here and invest their time and invest their other dollars Because if they're saving money here, they're spending it somewhere else.
That's
for
right.
something else.
So it's not just for a Hillbilly Day weekend, it's for Hillbilly Days and the 30 days thereafter.
Yes.
So you're going to be able for a month actually to get a great price. Go ahead and book your time now, because I can guarantee you it's going to get filled up fast.
It's already starting.
Yeah, it
We
is
announced
already
it
starting.
today. It's already starting.
It is, but what a wonderful way to welcome everybody in. It is so affordable, $29 for an adult, $25 for a child. You get 8 zip lines. It takes you, what, about 2 hours?
2 hour attraction.
2 hours. And if you haven't ever seen, like, the zip line is a little bit different than what we have as a canopy tour. I mean, they're similar, but the beauty that you get with a canopy tour is totally different. So it's going to be really remarkable to be able to take your kids there. 8 to 14 is the range, and they have to meet the weight and height requirement, obviously, but really you're not going to find it. You will not find it any less expensive than that.
No, and then we took it a step further and went to our partner Betty with Dream Stables and said, okay, since we've lowered our price for the zip line, what can we do with the horse trail and what can we do with the kayaking? So we did it there too. And so again, our normal price, $27 for the paddle and $27 for the saddle. We've lowered down to $20 each. So right now you can zip, paddle, and saddle for $69 as an adult and $65 as a child. So what most people are charging just for their zip line, we're charging for the zip, paddle, and the saddle.
All the attractions.
All the attractions. So our regular $99 price point, which was extremely low, we were thrilled with the $99 price point. We're now lowering it down to $69. And then again, the zip line itself is $29 and $25. And to your point though, Jill, we are unable, because of the rain, we're still having to clean up some of our boat ramps. So we're not going to launch the paddle component of it until after Hillbilly Days.
Yeah.
So after Hillbilly Days, but the beauty of it is you can still go on, and you can, the way the booking takes place is you can book your zip today or the 16th on, but the following weekend you can book your paddle. So you can still get the zip, paddle, and saddle even though it's on.
And spread it over the course of maybe 3 or 4 weekends. Or 3 or 4 days, if you will.
You can do it all in one weekend, or you can do it all in one day.
Well, that's a lovely component to have too, because there might be time that you say, well, it's a great Saturday morning. I want to go take advantage of the zip lines in the morning, but I have something else going on this afternoon. Right. But I still want to do the paddling part too. So maybe in a couple weeks we'll do that, or a few days. And then you throw it, and maybe one evening you think, well, I want to go take a horseback ride.
There you go.
You know, and you can't do it all the same day. What a great opportunity to be able to go ahead and get it for that price, and then book it over the course of maybe 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 days, whichever you prefer.
And if your intent is you want to have the full attraction all in one day, the beauty is what we've done, we've changed it up a little bit to where that's why we created the parking lot. You'll be able to go up there and park, and you leave your car there. You're done. You go over in zip line. When you're done with the zip line, you walk up to where the saddle is, or the horse trail is, and then when you're done, you come back down, and the pickup point for the kayaking is now up there. So they'll pick you up, take you to the kayak. When you're done, they'll pick you up and bring you back to your car. So you park your car one time. You can do all 3 things. The other thing that we're offering is a box lunch that you can buy up there. Or what we're doing is we're getting a list of different restaurants in the area that deliver. So what you'll be able to do is you'll be able to zip line. Our intent is there's numerous picnic tables because if you've been back to where the Parks building is, where the bathrooms or the horseshoe pitching bin is, that will be closed off to traffic. The traffic won't be allowed through there anymore because we have such a large parking area now. All that will have picnic tables throughout it. So you can come, and if you want to have a family event or come in and have, order a pizza and say, okay, I'm going to be done with the zip line at 2 o'clock, have my pizza up there by 2:15. Then you can do so it's going to, the intent is to try to partner with local businesses to get them involved, but to give the family a way to come up, park their vehicle, enjoy Bob Amos Park in 3 different facets, and then as we move forward, bringing people in from Lexington or the flatland areas, we'll say, to be able to come in and to have a zip, paddle, and saddle weekend, stay in our beautiful hotels, eat at some of these nice restaurants we're talking about, and then get in the car and head out to the breaks, or in a year or less, hopefully participate in the Jenny Wiley Theater or the Bourbon Trail. So this is where we're heading, and it's really exciting. And again, the price point is like no other, and I'm really excited and glad we're able to offer what we're able to do for our community.
It's going to be a lot of fun. So don't forget, if you need any information at all, want to check out the prices in case you didn't get them, there's a special right now. You can zip, paddle, and saddle for $69 as an adult, $65 as a child, or if you want to do them individually, $29, $20, and $20, $25, $20, and $20 for each individual attraction. Go to visitpikeville.com. Just click on the zip, paddle, and saddle logo or the zip line, whichever you prefer, and you can go ahead and sign up. Certainly going to be a lot of fun. Of course, River Trail is going to open up just after Hillbilly Days because we had a lot of water, so we got to take care of all of that. A lot of other things going on around our area and in our city that we want to update people on. We have a restaurant update. I know that you have that on your list. And I don't know if you want to really delve into it or you just want to remind people.
Well, I will. There is actually 3 restaurants now that we're excited about. One that's already been announced downtown, and we were smiling or talking about it before we came on board. But for those of you that recall Bob's Mountain Barbecue, that was here in Pikeville. Bob moved up to the Stonecrest for a few years, and he is now back. He's now coming back to Pikeville, and announced on his Facebook page last week that he will be in downtown Pikeville.
Bob's Southern Smokehouse,
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
So Bob and Karen are great people. I've known them for a long
the
time.
best barbecue.
They really do a wonderful job.
Yeah, and great people too. Going to be located on Division Street.
Division Street.
So look for that to come, and very soon, actually, probably by mid-May, I think. I think the opening is slated for the beginning of May, but I'm thinking probably mid-May is what they're shooting for.
So that's a done deal. So again, more traction downtown, more people, foot traffic, more opportunity. And then Monday night, commission meeting, will be announcing another restaurant. I was able, I think at our last show, it's an individual restaurant, which I'm really excited to talk about it. I can't wait to talk about it, but I have to wait until after Monday.
Wait a couple weeks to talk about it.
I do, but we're at the point now to where it's a different concept. It's an independent that's doing it, but it has a potential of growing into something much, much larger. The commission, we were able to negotiate. Alltech had a part in this also, local business person, and we were able to negotiate the terms of the agreement. Actually, yesterday everything was finalized, and I'll be presenting it Monday to the City Commission for them to sign off on it. Because it involves one of our city buildings.
Yeah.
And then the third piece of it is we keep talking about, and I did have a conversation again with the gentleman that builds for a company or that owns a franchise that builds for or has the franchise Buffalo Wild Wings. So I'm hoping there was some discussions and supposedly some offers made last week that are supposed to be finalized either this week or next week. So hopefully by next time that we come on air, we'll have an official announcement.
We'll have an official announcement for that. Lots of other things going on, not just Hillbilly Days and the brewery distillery, but we do want to bring everybody up to speed on Jenny Wiley Theater. If you you just have a couple of days, just a few days left to go see the phenomenal production of Steel Magnolias at Jenny Wiley downtown. And then they're also on the 25th of April, the annual Putnam County Spelling Bee starts the 25th at 7:30. That's going to be a good show.
If you haven't seen Steel Magnolias, one of my wife's favorite all time. They had a girls' night out, and her mother and her sister and my niece went and saw it, and she came back and said it was absolutely wonderful. Just absolutely loved it.
Certainly so. Also, Artist Collaborative Theater, they're going to have the Little Mermaid starting. Actually, it has already started now through the 19th.
Yep.
Chicago, May 14th through June 7th. And Home of the Great Peacock, that's going to be June 25th through July 19th. Now, the Expo Center has a lot going on too.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's always busy there.
It is, and there was a recent article in the paper talking about Cindy has come in and she's done a wonderful job. She's reduced expenses. She's bringing more and more attractions in. There's some a lot of great names that's been announced and more that she's working on. I know a couple of megastars that she's actually talking to their promoters, and hopefully that we can get also. So, one of the things also Monday that will be announced is the acquisition or the purchase of a half-house curtain. And what that is, it's extremely important to the Expo Center. It's been talked about since it's been open, but we've never made the investment to do so. But we're doing that. And what that is, it's a curtain system to where you can drape it across the entire Expo Center, to where instead of you having the gigantic arena, you can slide it in half. So you use half your lighting, half your seating, half your curtain, because what happens is a lot of the artists that you see down at the MAC, for example, won't come to the Expo Center simply because you have that wide open feel. it feels like that, you know, you haven't sold enough seats in essence. So a lot of those artists want only a half a venue. Instead of 7,000 seats, they only want 2,000 or they want 1,500 seats. So this curtain system that we're getting ready to invest in will give the Expo Center the ability of doing that. So it gives Cindy the opportunity of going after attractions that we haven't been able to pursue in the past. So that went out to bid. The bids were in, and it'll be awarded and installed. It's supposed to be installed by the middle of next month. So it's
That's going to be, because a lot of those artists, they do prefer those smaller, more intimate venues these days, seems like, so they can go around and certainly perform there. Also, the SOAR Strategy Summit, that's coming up May 11th. You can register at soar-kentucky.org. I know you're excited about that.
Very much so.
Going to be at the Expo Center. Obviously, Jamie Johnson coming to the Expo Center next Saturday night. Going to be a great show. He's been here before. He is the perfect act, I think, for Hillbilly Days.
We had that same discussion. I think he'll fit in perfectly for everything else that's going on.
Want to mention also on June 6th, Crucial Wrestling, the Marshall Tucker Band. Now that's going to be exciting because it's going to be in our Riverville Arena. Yeah,
that's the first, going to be our first concert experience, so we're excited, and a great band. I mean, I'm real excited about it as well. I got my tickets.
Yeah.
Plays to my genre.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Also, something I'm excited about, Ron White is coming in September.
Yes.
Now, he is probably one of the funniest people there is.
Tater salad, there's nothing like him.
Nothing like it.
When she told me we had the opportunity, I said at all costs, what's it going to
do? What's it going to do?
We had a great offer, and ticket sales are strong, so it's really going to be a good
It's going to be a great show. And then, of course, the rodeo coming in October. I mentioned the summit coming up, but a lot of great things, more things going on too. Don't want to forget about the Taste of the World event going on Thursday, April 30th. That's going to be at the U-Pike Gym. Rotary puts that on from 5 to 7, and then they're doing laser tag. Laser tag going to be fun at Jenny Wiley Theater. That's going to be April 15th through the 18th. I think a lot of people are going to get involved with that.
Absolutely. It's exciting. I mean, it's just amazing, Jill, looking over the years at all these new attractions. It just keeps building and building and building. So this is great stuff. We appreciate all of our partners in the community bringing more and more things in for more and more of our folks to do.
Never let it be said that there's nothing to do in the city of Pikeville.
I've heard that in years past, but I don't think you could say that now.
I don't know anybody now that can say that. All you have to do is just kind of open your eyes or open a paper or turn on the TV, and you know that there's something to do, becoming a destination, and we are so excited about it.
Amen. It's it's a tremendous investment on behalf of the city, but at the end of the day, it's about putting smiles on the kids' faces and offering attractions and venues in ways that families can come out and enjoy it. We've talked about the staycations. We want people to be able to stay local, invest their dollars local, have the same type of experience if you had to go out of town to do so. And it's always nice. We've said it before, and I'll say it again. It's great to see the trend reversing. It's good to see people coming here to go to a university or to a technical college. It's great to see people come here to go to a hospital and to shop and to eat, and now to be able to visit attractions where there's family and fun. So it really is an exciting time.
Anything you need to know, visit pikeville.com. Great information on that website.
Yeah, visit Pikeville.com or tourpikecounty.com.
Yeah, and your Facebook page.
Yes, and certainly we're doing a lot of updates. Matter of fact, our price point will come out today on our zip line and zip paddle and saddle tourism site that we launched this morning on the morning show.
Yeah.
So we're excited to get the word out.
Going to be a lot of fun. Don't forget Hillbilly Days. It starts the 16th. Going to be a lot of fun. 16th, 17th, and 18th. Get out, support the festival that has the heart. It's all about the children when it comes to Hillbilly Days and having a lot of fun. Donovan, it's been a great day.
As always, a lot of fun.
We'll start making our list for our next visit.
Sounds good, Jill.
All right. This has been the Pikeville City Manager's Report. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with us. Good day.